A morphological transformation, that's why it's moving. It's transforming in real time. Very good. Just straighten the center of the picture a little bit for you. Morphological transformation of the protozoa Paramecium caudatum. July 23, 2008. Caused by exposure to a Rife bear plasma device. The power is, we're up around 115 watts, which is a little high for my usual experiments. But we see we have an effect. Frequency is 1185 hertz plus the 11th harmonic. We've had about 300 seconds of exposure. We began to see the organism slow down and the first signs of change. We're definitely seeing morphological changes here. Paramecium caudatum, July 23, 2008, 1185 hertz, and the 11th harmonic, which is 13,035 hertz, 13,035, and we see internally a very large change happening. Some internal membrane just ruptured. Major changes in this organism at 1185. Continued morphological transformation of the Paramecium caudatum protozoa. This is live. You're seeing it in real time. It has undergone, excuse me, 460 seconds of exposure, and we continue to see changes in the organism. There may be other organisms changing at the same time, but we will stick with this one. Change the focal plane a little bit and see what happens. We might experiment a little bit with the DIC filter. Let's see if we could do that quickly. And here comes the last part of the DIC. And now we'll see interesting changes. I have to make a few adjustments here very quickly on the microscope. Here we go. Now we should have maximum effect of the DIC. There you go. So we'll be able to get very interesting texture and color information. You can see internally, we continue to have a morphological transformation. This was once a Paramecium caudatum. This is happening live. You're seeing it at the actual speed that it is happening. We're going to adjust some of the lighting a little bit to highlight various chemical constituents of the organism. Morphological transformation of a Paramecium caudatum as seen through an Olympus VX60 research microscope with a Nomarski DIC differential interference contrast filter. We continue to see internal changes in the organism. Let's continue to adjust the DIC filter. which reveals some of the subtle textural changes. There's a beautiful color. Hopefully that shows up on your video as beautiful as it is here in the lab. By the way, you can tell this is not thermal because you can see other small organisms swimming by to see if any other organisms were affected during this period. Now I've used this is the same organism you were looking at for the last 10 minutes or so, changing its shape, but in this case I've pulled out and I'm using only the 4x objective so you see it in perspective, and look at all the tiny organisms swimming around on that slide. Many organisms still swimming, still alive. So this experiment was specific to this Paramecium caudatum and falls very close to a frequency range where we have seen this effect occur before. Somewhere between 1178 Hertz and 1200 Hertz we usually can cause morphological transformation in Paramecium, and if you add the 11th harmonic, it's a little bit more powerful effect usually. This is really interesting because that little sphere, which I would conjecture came from within the organism, is showing continued activity. This is very interesting. But this is a 40x objective, so this would be a little tricky to need to move that over a little bit so we can center the picture. There we go. Very touchy business. 40x objective. Oh, we're seeing a major change in the organism. So continuing. Now this is interesting because it didn't just separate, it quasi-separated and then came back. This is really interesting. I think we're going to stick with this for a minute. Current frequency is 1186 plus the 11th harmonic, but I believe that change actually occurred at 1185, but when we hit 1186 we got even more changes. That's the organism moving somehow, not me. As it continues to change shape, it is. That shape change causes it to move around a little bit on the slide. So continued morphological transformation of the protozoa Paramecium caudatum. Just look, oh, there we go. That's a nice color. And I think something dramatic is happening here, so we're going to stick with this guy. There may actually be another organism doing more dramatic things, but that shape is so unique and interesting, I can't believe it. And it continues to change. We continue to see changes. I'm adjusting the DIC filter. Let's put it back on auto exposure. Marvelous, growing in size. Not just a round sphere, so maybe the round sphere stage is an interim stage. You can see there are organisms swimming all around this, so this is frequency specific. Those organisms are apparently completely unharmed, amazingly, by this experiment. It's been about 50 minutes of total exposure time over a range of various frequencies. We continue to see morphological transformations. Look at the bottom of the picture. Another distension. There's a very good detailed picture. Continued shape change, continued microactivity somehow inside the organism. At some point, we will film one of these and put on the oil immersion 100x objective and see if we can't videotape that incredible amount of micro movement that goes on inside there. It might be revealing as to the nature or the cause of the morphological transformations. Obviously not caused by thermal heating, or all these small organisms would be doing the same thing. Not every single paramecium caudatum will change at this frequency, but there is a range within which you begin to get more and more of them being affected. Now what's funny is that I have that on auto exposure and it still looks a little overexposed, doesn't it? Let's drop it down a little bit. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay, now we can look at that. So that was fascinating. We saw some more changes in that organism. Let's go look for some more. There's that organism you were looking at, and right next to him was this one. We turned totally around. I don't know if that's a piece of that one or that's a different organism. Love that texture. Look at all those creatures swimming around in there. Normally food for the paramecium. They're dancing around happily, unaffected by this frequency. Frequency specific. Currently we're on 1186 hertz plus the 11th harmonic. Okay, I did find another organism that changed. We didn't see it live, but you can tell from the view we saw with that other paramecium that this obviously is a paramecium caudatum that has changed, and there you can see its shape as revealed in the beautiful colors of the Nomarski filter. Perhaps we could call it the mortal oscillatory rate of the paramecium caudatum. I doubt this organism is capable of any longer reproducing or carrying out its normal functions, devitalized. Probably what Raymond Rife meant. There was still activity in the organism, but it was incapable of completing its normal life cycle. I think we'll go back to, I'm going to go backwards to these frequencies. Let's go to 1175, which was the one right before this. This is that same paramecium who was changing shape into a little sphere, and you can see there's a small organism running rampant inside of him, either inside or underneath him. It's not clear. It's possible he actually ate that organism, and it remains in there undigested and essentially wreaking havoc. He sure looks like he's inside the paramecium. Nope, he's on top. He's digging into his little tissues, because when I bring the focal plane up to the top of the organism, oh, he's going up and down through the paramecium, because I can change the focal plane, and he goes in and out of focus, which means he's swimming into from below, into and then from above, up and down, and swimming through the paramecium quite freely. He may have one time been lunch, and is now, I would guess, looking for an escape. escape route. Here we are zooming down into the paramecium, and now we move the focal plane out and away. There he comes into focus, but he is definitely tearing up the tissues inside that paramecium. And the paramecium continues to undergo slight shape change. Let's look for more organisms. Just to show that this is frequency specific to paramecium, I'm going to show you a free swimming Bordetella who's in this culture, who shouldn't have been in here, but he provides us with an interesting, absolutely healthy little swimmer. Pretty sure it's a Bordetella, but I don't see his tail, but he looks like a Bordetella. And maybe you can see he's moving pretty darn fast. I will put a little higher objective. Oop. And watch how fast he swims by the screen here. He's going to go right by a paramecium who changed. Ha ha! So, there we have now he's going to hit an air bubble. Let's see what he does. And he goes north. Head north, young man. So here we're looking at a free swimming Bordetella. You can zoom out so you get a better view of that. You see him zooming along the edge of the slide. Here he comes. And there he goes. And you can see other organisms swimming around. So this experiment has been quite specific to Paramecium caudatum. Another proof that this is frequency specific. Let me adjust the filter. I think you can see that. That's a Bordetella. He wasn't even supposed to be in this supply of organisms. And he looks totally fine. Although he's not retracting his tail. Normally they will retract their tail frequently. But if I zoom in, that's the 40x objective. A Bordetella is very small. We see that he still has movement. It actually doesn't show up as well on the video as it does in the microscope. He's actually vibrating back and forth very fast in the microscope. So that's what a bacteria, thriving bacteria culture looks like. Now we could have some fun and keep this slide on and hunt for a couple of years and find the frequency for that bacteria. By golly, that almost looks like Bacillus megatherium to me. So again, we have bacteria of all kinds of swimmers, so we were only zapping Paramecium tonight.